everybody for being here today. I felt it was important to, get in front of everyone after the fall season. Obviously, I know we'll probably spend a lot of time on football today, but before we get there, I really wanted to talk about two other sports. Volleyball, really pleased with Adler and what our volleyball program has done this year, 20 wins. And I think Adler's done a really good job of building it the right way. And I'm excited for them and the girls that, we get to host a postseason tournament this weekend. So excited about that. I'm also really pleased with where Gary Higgins has our soccer program. We finished the regular season in fourth place. Again, I felt like we made some really good progress there, and just exciting to see those two sports flourish in a meaningful way. Obviously, big week for basketball this week. Our women host Hampton tomorrow at 11, and then our men host Wilmington on Thursday night. Certainly anticipate a really good crowd there. So excited about that, and then obviously the new additions to Minji's, the seats and the lights, I think has definitely created a good atmosphere. As it relates to our football program, obviously we have not met expectations for where this program should be, and it starts with certainly me, Coach Houston. Our student athletes hadn't met their expectations either. I feel just terrible with how the season played out, and I know that we can do better. I know that it's going to take a lot of hard work from everybody in this department to get it turned around. And I do believe in Mike Houston. And, I've talked to a lot of Pirate Club members over the last several weeks that have shared their thoughts. And, this is a special place. And as I think about Pirate Nation, the first word that comes to me is a very passionate fan base. And you can't have that passion both ways, or one way. It runs both ways. I love it that we've got this great student support, we've got great fan support, and it's really, really good here when you win. You go back to the previous 2 years, there's nothing like it. But you can't have that passion just one way. It cuts both ways. And so when we're not doing well, I've certainly heard and felt the passion on a different level, and that comes with the territory. And honestly, I'm thankful for that. And it's been really difficult, over the last several weeks, because we're not where we want to be, and you hear about it every day. But I'm thankful for that, because the worst thing that could happen is have apathy where no one cares. And, there are a lot of places out there that they don't care. And this is not one of those places. So I am thankful for that. As I look at where we go from here, and again, hearing from our Pirate Club members and constituents, there's a lot of discussion about how did this happen in year 5, and really about 2 years ago, the world of intercollegiate athletics changed, and it changed with NIL and the transfer portal, and so I look at it each year as we almost, I started in this business being an athletic director and having a certain mindset of, you bring in these student athletes as freshmen, you develop and grow them, and by the time they're junior, senior, you can have a pretty good team. And the reality is, you are making significant roster moves every year. Just the reality of what the new world is, and so you almost, as it relates to football, you almost need to think more like a general manager. Okay, we need these certain pieces, and we need NIL money to go out to the market to try to get these. And so as you think about what next year looks like, I do feel like Mike being our head coach, making what adjustments and tweaks that we need to make, that is going to put us in the best position to be successful next year. And we do need change. Everybody saw, we see what the record is, and we see where our shortcomings were, and I think everybody here is, committed to fix it. I've had really good conversations with our Pirate Club members over the last couple of days as it relates to NIL and our pathway out of this. We are still in a unique position where we do have to go and sign, some freshmen that, some high school players, but we're also going to need to, go to the portal and make some significant changes as there. So understand that is the pathway forward. I'm committed to it. I know it needs to get fixed. Coach Houston knows it needs to get fixed, and everyone's committed to doing that. We've had tremendous support from the university and Chancellor Rogers, and we are going to get it fixed. I'll open it up with some questions.
Raise your hand. With how much NIL has kind of changed the landscape of college football, as you mentioned, how much of a say can you really have as an athletic director, and where the money goes? Can you have any say? How does that work?
Well, NIL really runs through a third party, either the collective, and we're very fortunate that we have the Boneyard Collective. They've been extremely supportive of our student athletes, and then we also have individuals that help with that. And I think from my chair, the biggest thing that I can do is to continue to advocate for NIL and how important those opportunities are, because I've said a number of times, we're only as good as the players we have. If you look at the best teams in the country right now, you can argue they have the best coaches. I probably would argue on the other side that those teams have the best players, and the better NIL that we have, the more opportunity where we will have to attract players. And I think it's important too, like if you look at our roster, the other thing that gives me a sense of hope and confidence is, I think we had like 10 to 12 seniors this year. We're a very young team, and if we can hold on to those young players that we need to hold on to and supplement through recruiting, we have a chance to flip this pretty quickly, in my opinion.
John, you mentioned the year-to-year, changes right now. It can be tough, but for you guys as an administration, what's your baseline expectations and goals for success for the football program going into each year?
Well, I think to me, on a very baseline level, we should play in a bowl game every year, and I think that is achievable and meaningful. And I do think we ought to compete for conference championships. We're in a position. If you look at last year with the schools that were in our league and left to go to the Big 12, there was a huge financial gap between us and those top schools. If you look at budget-wise now, there's still a gap, but it's not quite near as far. So I do think we have all the things here in place that we can win a conference championship here. And so my expectation is, at minimum, we should be playing in a bowl game every year, and we should be competing for conference championships and be in that upper tier of our league.
John, I had a question as far as NIL is concerned. Will there be a push? I mean, you talk to the donors. I know that you directly in the athletic department can't like raise the money, but is there like a goal that you have in mind for the collective, like how much you would like to see for the football program and basketball program?
You know, if you look at where the NIL landscape is, and you look at like our peers, and I'm not saying necessarily our peers in our league, I'm talking about our peers across the board, schools that look like us. I think from a football perspective, you know, I think it's going to be a number, you know, 700,000 plus for football. And you know, obviously we have players that you want to keep. You know, we have some really good young players that I think, you know, you give them one more year of experience, they're going to grow and develop. And then we need that, you know, funds like that to obviously go to the portal and have meaningful, you know, discussions about our NIL opportunities here.
Obviously, there are other things in this world that cost money, one of those being an indoor practice facility. What would your message be to the donors as far as balancing their donations, as far as, you know, things here on campus as well as investment in our student athletes?
You know, I'm really pleased with where our progress is on the indoor building. I've stated that I think that project's going to be somewhere in the $22 to $25 million range. And we're, you know, just a little north of 15 million right now. So we've got, let's call it 8 to 10 million to go. I feel good about where that is, and we've got some significant ask out with donors to help complete that project. I think really, if you look globally, it's probably the last big piece from a facility standpoint that we need. I know we're also doing the baseball renovation, but I'm really talking about football. You know, from that point forward, you're focusing on renovations or upkeep. And so I think the indoor building is important, but I go back to we're only as good as the players that we have, and NIL is going to be really important in the type of roster we have next year.
How much say and how national search does it go with hiring a new offensive coordinator?
Well, I look at it, my job as an athletic director, you know, I hire head coaches. I let the coaches put their staff together. Now, obviously, you know, Coach Houston and I have talked extensively, you know, over the last, you know, week, 10 days about an offensive coordinator and what the philosophy is and what we're looking for. And, you know, we'll certainly give an opinion or share my thoughts of, you know, what I see and hear, but ultimately it'll be his decision to make.
What are the one or two changes you and Coach Houston talked about that have to happen to go from a 2-win season to at least a bowl team or a conference championship team next year?
You know, if you look at our program, and I do feel this, I feel like we have a good program here. I'm very proud of the program that we have at East Carolina. I'm very disappointed in our record this year and all that comes with, you know, the record that we have. But I think about the culture in the locker room. You know, I see our student athletes, you know, pretty much every day. I interact with them in some form or manner. I mentioned this last night on the radio station. knock on wood, we haven't had behavior issues. We haven't had any major academic casualties. I mean, when you think about a program and the culture and all those things, I do feel like we're in a good place there. Obviously, if you look on the field, I saw what everybody saw. We're pretty good defensively. We've done really well on special teams. We've got to, make some changes offensively to get our offense more productive. And I think we can do that. If you go back, 2 years and look at our offense, was pretty productive, and a lot of those pieces were student athletes that Coach Houston and his staff brought in. Linemen, receivers, running backs. Those were all student athletes that Coach Houston and his staff recruited, and I think we're going to have to make a major push to go out and attract those same type players.
How do you engage the season ticket holders who may be on the fence about, not happy with what they saw this year, thinking about maybe not renewing? What do you say to those people to keep them and keep them, renewing season tickets next year?
It's an important piece. Like, I feel like I'm very visible. I'm almost at every athletic event. I'm pretty engaging with everyone that I see, and I've been engaged a lot over the last several weeks. When I arrived here, almost 5 years ago, we were not very good at that point, and it took a while to get to where we wanted to go, to have some success on the field. And I wouldn't point to one person or one thing that helped this department get there. Collectively, it was a lot of Pirate Club members. It was this community. It was businesses in this town. Like there were a lot of people that helped us get to winning seasons, and it's going to take those same people to help. One of the things that we sell here is, you look at when you come to a game and we have a lot of people in the stands. That makes a big difference. When you're bringing in a recruit and there are people in the stands, there are a lot of places I go in this league and there's no one in the stands. And it's kind of a hard sell to recruits of, hey, come play for us. Look at all the people you'll get to play in front of. We don't have that problem. We need everybody to play a part, no matter what that part is. If it's buying a ticket, we need you to do that. If you can provide NIL opportunities to help us recruiting, we need you to do that. And certainly if you can put your name on a building, we need you to help with that. It's going to take a collective group to get out of that. And really, like, back to your first question on, what do I want out of this program? Like, I want sustained success. Now, that is a little more difficult to achieve now based on the transfer portal and NIL and all those things. And I think you're going to see it each year. You're going to see a successful team that the next year they may not be as successful because they had a really good year and then they lost a lot of players to the portal. But my goal for this program is to have sustained success, and I believe we can achieve that.
Did the 2-win season catch you off guard this year? And then how do you sustain success in the NIL portal era going forward?
Well, I think only winning 2 games caught everybody by surprise. And I'm not any different, than a lot of you. I'm sitting on the beach in the summer, and then I'm looking at the schedule and reading the book, and counting them up, and I counted higher than 2. When I did that. Now, there are a lot of factors that go into that, and I think how we get to sustain success, I do think we're going to have to embrace what the new model is, and that it is going to change year to year, based on NIL and the portal. And I hate that, because that's really not, it's not the collegiate model that I grew up with. And I've been in the business a long time, but if you really think about the model, we've changed in the last 2 years, probably more so than we've changed in the last 20. And so you are seeing a lot of things that are happening that haven't happened before. And we were affected this year, and I think embracing the new model and then understanding what that new model looks like. We're also in a very unique position at East Carolina, in that I think that we have to find the balance of attracting high school seniors to come here, and supplementing it with players out of the transfer portal, but because of your culture. Like if you still want to be able to build a program, not field a team. There are a lot of places that you're going to field a new team every year, and you're just completely flipping the roster. When you do things like that, it really can erode the culture if you're not careful. And so I think it's important for us to find the balance between recruiting high school student athletes, because I do think we can attract some really good high school players, coupled with going to the portal and finding student athletes that have significant playing experience.
Last time we had one of these, you talked a lot about conference realignment and stuff. How does that play in what you're talking about, and do you foresee more like crazy changes in this coming near future?
I don't think conference realignment will stop for a little while, but I also look of, you got to be successful where you are. Like I was looking at the Big 12 standings yesterday, and you look at the 3 schools that left us and where they are, and I think you've got to figure out how to win where you are. And as we're talking about the constant involvement, we're going to be in a 12-team playoff pretty soon. I would argue the better we are in our league, there's probably going to be a better pathway for us in that 12-team playoff in the future. But I do think conference realignment will continue to happen for a little while.
Moving forward with scheduling, would you like to do another Michigan-style game down the road, and just your overall thoughts on scheduling and getting teams here?
Well, scheduling is really important. I do think we've got some good games for the future. I would like to play another game like that. The first time that could probably happen, unless a team drops us or buys us out, etc., is probably like 2029 and beyond. And I've reached out to a few teams to see, one silver lining, if you want to look at it like this. There are a lot of teams that are interested in us right now because of where our record is, and so normally I'll call a school and go, hey, will you play us? And like the previous 2 years, it was that there's no chance we're playing you. And so I think it's important to schedule good games. I also like regional games, non-conference wise. There's some schools in our region that I think we could play that would be, you know, really good matchups. I like the App Series. You know, that's a good game for us. Look forward to hosting them here next year. So we're going to continue to add and adjust to the schedule.
You mentioned earlier that your expectation is to go to bowl games every year and compete in the upper half of the conference or conference championships. Is the expectation for next season to be in a bowl game, and does Mike Houston have that same expectation?
Yeah, you know, Mike and I talk to him every day, usually multiple times a day, and he knows where we are. Like he wants sustained success. He knows that you know, we ought to be playing in a bowl game every year. That is achievable, and being in the upper third of our league is certainly achievable. And you know, when you win a conference championship or play for it, you know, typically you have a older veteran team that has been together. You know, look at Tulane. They've been ultra stable there. They've been able to add some pieces. Obviously, SMU has done a good job over the last 3-4 years. So, like when you compete for a conference championship, you do have to have, you know, some older guys that have been in the program and understand what winning looks like. But I certainly think that is achievable here.
Switching gears a bit, Coach Schwartz put out a pretty lengthy statement about the Cam Hayes situation. Any thoughts you can add on that? And also just the whole waiver thing in college sports right now with the 2 top transfer just seems to be getting a lot of blowback. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is, you know, there's been a lot of change in our industry. You know, you look at 2-time waivers, they're difficult to get, and then you see, you know, some other schools that are getting them for a variety of reasons, and we all talk to one another. Like, it's not like, you know, if a school, something happens at a school, it's not like we're not talking to them and know, you know, what they did or how they did it. And so obviously, you know, we're going to continue the process and continue to advocate for Cam in hopes that they'll you know, make a different decision. I think it's warranted, and so we're going to continue to advocate on his behalf and do whatever we can do on our end to help support him and make it you know, a different outcome.
Any other questions for John? Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you.